next speaker is the Managing Director of Cybersecurity for Asia Pacific, Japan, and China at Cisco, Mr. Kerry Singleton. He is responsible for the strategy and growth of Cisco's security business in the region and driving Cisco as the #1 security partner and advisor to customers and partners. With 2 decades of expertise in the security and IT industry, both within and outside of Cisco, Mr. Singleton's role is focused on developing and positioning cybersecurity as an integral foundation for all businesses. Prior to his current role, Kerry was Director of Cybersecurity for ASEAN, and before that, Regional Director for Advanced Threat Solutions in the APJC at Cisco, where he worked on interfacing new technologies into sales and technical teams, business unit, marketing, sales, and channel to grow the business within the region.
Today, I'm Kerry Singleton, Managing Director, Cybersecurity Sales, APAC at Cisco. I'm here to speak to you today about the future of the hybrid workforce. We know this trend is continuing to rise over the years, with some estimates here on the current state of working from home. Using this US example, we're all living this today in one form or another. 56% of workforce have jobs where at least some of what they do could be done remotely. 43% showing those who work from home at least some of the time, and 83% estimate an increase in working from home adoption based on the 2020 response to the pandemic. These estimates are from a research-based consulting firm who specializes in remote work, analysts, and has been focused on this topic for more than 10 years. And you might be able to relate if you've been working from home yourself as well. Just some more details that back up this 83% estimate from Global Workforce Analytics. Our prediction is that the longer people are required to work from home, the greater the adoption will be when the dust settles. And here's why. There's an increased demand for work from home from our employees. There's reduced fear about work from home amongst managers and executives for many companies today. There is increased pressure for working from home, for disaster preparedness. There's also increased awareness of cost-saving opportunities in working remotely. Also increased awareness of the impact of work from home on sustainability. And another big bonus is the reduced business travel. With benefits for both employees and employers, there are many benefits for employers and their companies. If we look at some of these, #1 is the low overhead savings. When we think about things like increased productivity, lower real estate costs, lower floor footprint within the cities where our businesses are based, reduced absentee and turnovers, and also better preparedness for disaster recovery. We also think about lower employee costs, assuming from working from home half the time, the reduced cost of travel, the reduced cost of parking and food. Also maintaining business continuity. Businesses can keep running if their employees can work from home. It also produces higher productivity and efficiency. In terms of time, a half-time telecommuter saves the equivalent of 11 working days per year in the time they would have otherwise spent for commuting. And in many countries across the world, this number could be even higher depending on traffic and commuting times that we can potentially experience. Extreme commuters, for example, can save 3 times that amount. Again, these estimates assume a 75% reduction in driving on teleworker days. Again, these are estimates, they're all from the same source, but I think we can all relate to some of these on some level. There is a real compelling case for working from home. But also it comes with challenges. But we know the pros. There's always concerns that business owners or leaders may not be prepared for. We know we now have our workforce off-site. How can we verify people? How can we verify they are who they say they are? And how do we verify them when they log onto the network? How can we let them access their company applications, sensitive files, sensitive data? How do we defend against malware and other threats on the network? And how do we keep people feeling connected when they're physically away from their peers and their teammates? We know that human interaction is incredibly important. Why does it feel so complex to have to use all of these security tools? Can't they just work together? And how are we going to do it without breaking the bank? You may not have been planning for a sudden working from home, as many of us and many customers out there did today. We all moved from business continuity planning into business execution planning, and some of us moved there overnight, which when we think about it is a huge achievement. But while we're trying to figure out how to support work from home, our employees are just trying to do their jobs. They're just trying to get on with it. And they're not aware that there may be, that we may be exposing our employees to more risk. They're probably toggling between company managed devices and personal devices at home, or BYOD devices connecting to our corporate applications or data. They may not be aware of what it means by device posture. They could be using an out-of-date internet browser, for example. They could be using a jailbroken phone. They could be using something with an operating system that has vulnerabilities in it, for an example. They're also using more SaaS-based and unsanctioned applications so they can get their work done easier. You know, many are probably bypassing their VPN, so their virtual private network, that secure connection back into their corporate environment when they're either at home or working remotely from a cafe or on the road. And if you're at a cafe or on the road, then you're probably using consumer Wi-Fi, again, without the awareness of how their behavior can expose their company to risk. So the clock is really ticking as we try to figure out how we're going to secure our remote workers, and all the while they're bringing in new risk to the organization. So regardless, for all types of business, you have a few considerations that you need to think about here. First, we need to verify the user's identity so that we can establish trust, and trust is incredibly important. You are who you are. You are who you say you are. Next, we need to enable work on any kind of device from any kind of connection. So when I speak about connection, it could be the corporate environment, it could be home Wi-Fi, It could be a cafe Wi-Fi connection. It could be a mobile network. But we also need to be able to do it in a seamless and secure fashion to allow our users to connect to their applications and to their data. We have to give access to the company applications and the data workers need to be able to access and do their day jobs. We have to empower our users. We have to protect them from threats once they're on the network. And wouldn't it be great if we could do all of this within a single integrated platform? Within Cisco, we have a set of integrated solutions that can do this all together. The SecureX platform is a built-in experience embedded within our solutions. So it comes with any of the solutions that you buy that are cloud delivered from Cisco, meaning that you see immediate benefits with the Cisco security products you already have as you see them interacting together. We built SecureX to eliminate the complexity we saw across the security vendor market and make security more simple. SecureX expands platform benefits across every network, every endpoint, every cloud, and every application that you access. You can verify user identity. You can enable secure access. You can defend against threats. And you can see all of this from the single dashboard through SecureX. So look, that secures users wherever they work and on any device. And we can secure users whenever they need to work and from wherever they need to work through our MFA solution, our multi-factor authentication, our VPN, our virtual private network, cloud edge, so delivering that capability, that security at the edge of the network from the cloud. And finally, running on the endpoint, our world-class endpoint security. And through our suite of web application tools that further support workers when they're away from the office, keeping them connected from their home networks as well. And look, this is all backed by the reliability and support of a world-class leader in technology and connectivity like Cisco. These offerings are backed with the integration we've done across the entire solution sets. The SecureX platform they sit on, the fact that it's delivered in the cloud, it's scalable with products and services for businesses of all types. And we live this every day within Cisco. So running in my home environment here, I have each of these products that I've presented to you and I've spoken about today, scaled across our entire enterprise. So I, as I'm speaking about, have the same experience regardless of whether I'm connected on my home Wi-Fi network or I'm connected from the corporate network or from a remote location like a cafe. It's important that it's seamless regardless of where we're connecting from. But let's dig into these a little bit further. So now we're going to take a peek at each of the four solutions. And I'm going to start by speaking to you about Cisco Duo. So Duo is the world's easiest and most secure MFA, multi-factor authentication. Duo is incredibly easy to deploy across all types of applications, cloud and on-prem. And we use it today, as I said, inside Cisco, and we deployed it in a very short space of time across all of our global employees. You can verify users' identity. You can gain visibility into every device. And imagine that, gaining visibility even into BYOD devices and the power that brings to the employee. And it gives the users that ability to connect from any device. Plus it gives a little bit of control back to IT and the security departments to give them visibility into what's connecting to the network and to the applications. And we can enforce adaptive policies to secure access to every single application that you're connecting into. For the users, it's a one-tap approval through two-factor authentication through 2FA. That then gives you visibility into what devices they're using, whether they're managed or whether they're unmanaged, before you give them access to company applications. We've got many options for MFA, from a really simple push notification on a smartphone, to tokens, to phone calls, to text messages. You could have wearables and many, many more. We're also going passwordless, as many of you would have heard in the market as well. And this is another huge step in the evolution of multi-factor authentication. And we think the easier we make it for employees to verify identity, the more we can actually minimize shadow IT and shadow applications on the network. A zero trust approach secures access to everything across your entire IT environment. It allows you to prevent a data breach before it happens by enabling policy-based controls from every access attempt to applications, workloads, and the network. With a zero trust approach, and you'll hear more about zero trust today, you can gain visibility into who and what is accessing your application, your workload, and the network in order to identify risks and indicators of a breach of trust. Duo delivers on zero trust for your workforce by verifying identity. And what's really important is the device health. So checking that the device has an up-to-date operating system, checking the device hasn't been jailbroken, checking the device potentially is encrypted or has some form of password or biometrics to access the device, so the device is also secured before allowing users to connect to the applications they need to do their job. So it's really about trust, and it's about securing the user, securing access to the data and the applications, and continuously verifying that that trust is there as well. Next, we're going to speak with you about AnyConnect. With AnyConnect, you can quickly give remote access to workers anywhere. It's secure access to the enterprise, to the network, from any device at any time in any location. Next, you get more insights into users and endpoint behavior with full visibility across your network. All you need to have is some form of connectivity that you can establish this connection over. Last, you get comprehensive protection from continuous endpoint posture checks. So not just the device now, but also the endpoint. That's AnyConnect validating the health of your device. You've granted access to so that users can defend against threats wherever they go. Just an important example of this is a vulnerability that may be running in a piece of software or an operating system. By enforcing and checking the health and ensuring that that device is updated, provides us as IT administrators or IT security professionals a lot more confidence that the device that's connecting to the network is secure. It's built on foundational VPN technology, which we have developed at Cisco over many, many years. AnyConnect extends its value proposition beyond just remote access. Sitting on endpoint computer devices, AnyConnect enables security into the network fabric, behind the firewalls, and provides unprecedented security to the corporate policy environment when users are mobile outside of the corporate firewall. AnyConnect integrates with several of Cisco's best-in-class solutions, such as Secure Endpoint, previously known as AMP, our identity services engine, and there are many, many more advantages that these products bring to AnyConnect. Here are a few key examples. Always on protection. This reliable connectivity enabled through AnyConnect's basic and advanced VPN services is integrated with AnyConnect's additional security layers, such as end-to-end data encryption, even when the data is in motion and regardless of the endpoint type and regardless of the location or the medium you're connecting over. User or group-based identity that allows or identifies access to specific web applications. Proactive threat defense. So secure endpoint protection delivers continuous threat monitoring and malware protection across all of your endpoints that are connected to the network. Unmatched web protection. AnyProtect includes built-in web security and malware threat protection that filters for threats when web access is initiated and delivers web content inspection through the integration of Cisco Cloud Web Security or Cisco Web Security Appliance. Also, multiple access options with AnyConnect. You can support a broad range of authentication methods, head-end services, and termination platforms, all of which can be verified in many different environments for greater flexibility. Also, integrated compliance. AnyConnect integrates with our NAC solution, so Cisco Identity Services Engine, to develop top-of-line compliancy and authentication solutions. You can feel confident that AnyConnect has you covered with proactive protection, even without getting into other solution components that integrate with AnyConnect. So the final two that I'll speak about are Cisco Umbrella and Secure Endpoint. We call Umbrella a first line of defense because it works at the DNS layer with a goal to block threats before they compromise your data. With Umbrella, customers can stop malware infections earlier, identify already infected devices faster, and prevent data exfiltration, and also prevent malware from triggering outbound connections such as ransomware, which we hear and see a lot more of every day in the news. As a secure internet gateway, Umbrella provides visibility into your internet and web traffic, whether users are on or off your corporate network, across all ports and across all protocols, protection from external threats, leveraging threat intel from Cisco Telos, and control of what your users can do to help with policy and compliance mandates. That's Umbrella acting as the first line of defense. But what about the small percentage of more advanced threats that sneak through? Because as we all know, as security professionals today, nothing is 100%. So you have to have a layered protection model when deploying cybersecurity technologies. So the next one I want to talk about is Secure Endpoint. Secure Endpoint is cloud managed, next generation endpoint security that not only prevents against cyber attacks, but also rapidly detects, contains, and remediates malicious files if they invade defenses or infiltrate endpoints before the damage can be done. So this is how Umbrella and Secure Endpoint work hand in hand together, working at different yet complementary layers. So about that layered security approach. Umbrella prevents connections to malicious destinations and command and control callbacks at the DNS and IP layers, while Secure Endpoint works at the file level to prevent the initial malware executing. And it also tracks file behavior over time, and it also checks inside the applications for the health of applications, security vulnerabilities running within the devices. So again, about that posturing level, identifying threats within the operating system and applications. The EDR, which stands for Endpoint Detection and Response, investigates the entire life cycle of a threat, providing insights into what happened, how it got there, where it's been, what it's doing now, and also how we can stop it, and how we can isolate and contain it. By containing the threat at the endpoint, the EDR helps eliminate the threat and prevents it from moving laterally, from spreading across the network. And all of this is backed by Cisco Telos. Cisco Telos is the largest non-governmental threat intelligence organization on the planet. So hopefully, as you're seeing now, this is all bundled into a set of offerings that come with integration and protect users everywhere. From the time we verify users and device identity with Duo, to the time we enable access to the network and company applications with AnyConnect, to the first and last line of defense we just talked about with Umbrella and Secure Endpoint, and all within the foundation of Zero Trust. We've also got our collaboration platform as I'm connecting with you today. So our WebEx cloud, allowing us to communicate and have virtual meetings from anywhere that can keep your remote workers feeling connected. I spoke about the importance of feeling connected and productive when they're away from the office. And to do this all in a secure fashion is really important. So let's do a quick look at how some of these integrations work. We're just going to key on 3 of the top ones for now. So let me just give you some examples. So Duo comes with a native integration to AnyConnect and Cisco's next generation firewalls, our ASAs or our firewall threat defense. Duo provides the easiest use of MFA solutions for AnyConnect VPN logins. We can move purely to MFA. We can reduce the need for logins through username and passwords. It's a fully built-in and integrated solution into the VPN capability. With Duo's MFA, users can validate their identities with just one simple tap authentication, a push to a smartphone device, for example. And again, I spoke earlier on, there are multiple ways we can push to a user. And the particular example I'm giving you right now is through that multi-factor authentication, through that push to a smartphone device. Duo with AnyConnect can provide admins with insights into the devices and their security posture. So now what that means is we're checking the device for health. We're checking it and we're enforcing policies to allow access to internal applications only for secure and what's really important, healthy devices. A key benefit here is the fact that the two provide insights into unmanaged devices, as you're probably seeing a rise, if that a sudden rise in that and requests coming from your remote workers as well today. Within Cisco, we heavily utilize this capability. And as I said before, a lot of checks take place on devices before we can actually connect. We check operating systems, we check application health, we check to see if it's a smartphone, if it's jailbroken. We also check to make sure there's passwords, biometrics enabled on the device. For example, the device is encrypted as well. And these are all important checks to ensure that devices connecting to our network are connecting securely, and they are the potential for them to be compromised is very, very low. Let's look at another key integration for AnyConnect. AnyConnect has a whole suite of modules for deploying secure features that we call enablers. When the user VPNs into the network using AnyConnect, the secure endpoint module checks to see if the machine has a secure endpoint installed. If not, it forces an installation. AnyConnect can enable the distribution of secure endpoint to remote users to help detect and stop advanced threats. These capabilities help IT teams streamline security operations for a range of users, employees, partners, contractors, as well as all of the managed endpoint devices that sit within the network. And last, we're going to look at how Umbrella and Secure Endpoint work together. They work in a similar fashion as AnyConnect and Secure Endpoint by first blocking a threat and then tracking down the root cause of the problem on the endpoint. This is that first and last line of defense that we talked about earlier, where we block threats first at the DNS layer with Umbrella, then perform even more detection and response analysis on the endpoint through the advanced malware protection we have on the secure endpoint. So it's a very symbiotic relationship between these two solutions, which can provide protection on their own, but they can also do more together, as we've sort of explained. And as I said before, we can then bring all of this data and all this threat intelligence data together from all these platforms in a single location under our SecureX platform. So these solutions work together. As you can see on this slide, we're showing each of the 4 solutions in action here, starting with Duo MFA, with Duo on the phone there, moving to the VPN access with AnyConnect, and those first and last line defenses from Umbrella, from Secure Endpoint. These are solutions that can stand alone and that can work better together. And part of our broader approach to security is that they can all operate independently, but they are all built into our SecureX platform that I've spoken about on several occasions, intended to work with what you already have and give you more control over your security efforts. Because as we all know, a large issue that we have out there in the market today is attracting and retaining security talent. It's a very challenging marketplace to hire into, and there's a huge shortage there. So the more that we can integrate, the more that we can automate, and the more that we can make things easier, provides huge benefits to us as customers. It's user-friendly. Security, they don't have to think about, but it's more in the background. It doesn't get in the way. It's frictionless. As I said before, we use these technologies inside Cisco. So regardless of where I'm connecting, from what device I'm connecting, and from where I'm connecting, if I'm connecting from home, from the office, from a remote location, it's a seamless experience. And it helps you stay ahead of the constantly evolving threats out there so you can focus on your business today. And behind it all is an aggregated industry-leading threat intelligence team. It's the largest non-governmental threat research organization on the planet, an elite group of security experts devoted to providing superior protection to our customers. We believe that you can't protect what you cannot see. So we see more threats, we see more malware, we see more attacks than any other security vendor in the world across the telemetry of all of our devices, from the endpoint to the cloud, to the application, to the data. You see some of the numbers here on the screen, 250 plus threat researchers and data scientists analyzing 1.5 million unique malware samples daily, blocking 20 billion threats, more than 20 times any other vendor. When you see more, you block more. It's a really simple equation. We're also proud of the recognition that we've received, not only from the enterprise and Fortune 100 companies, but for small businesses and businesses of all sizes. We're here to help. We also have many industry awards, which you can see on this slide here as well. So as next steps, we will share with you some additional information and links following, so you can trial if required, or get additional information or context. As I said before, we run all of these technologies internally within Cisco IT. We can also set up a call if you're interested, and you can listen to our Cisco IT team speak about how they've deployed and how we utilize these technologies within our own workplace. So a lot of what I've spoken to you about today, you can actually see and understand from people who use this in practice. I just want to say thank you, and I hope you all get something out of this session today. And it's great being here. Thank you once again.